What's up, homie?
Starting out with a big fine.
Fine.
Starting out with it, B-Dirt.
Woo.
Hey, man. Yeah, it's one of them Fridays, I guess, man. But
It's Big G's fault.
it's Big G's fault. Everything's Big G's fault.
That's gonna be the theme of tonight. Big G's fault.
Hey, man, everybody, all ASC North fans, everybody that rocks with Running Through the Jungle, Steel Curtain Network, and even those of you that are Ravens fans that check us out and Browns fans. We can't keep a Browns personality on here. Pay is with us to talk about the Ravens. He's just taking care of some work right now. So we know that he's at his desk. We've talked to him. He's just doing some things. He'll join us as soon as he can, but he's here. Pay is in the building.
True.
But man, B-Dirt, what's happening, man?
Just glad to get through the work week, man. Glad the weekend is finally here and playing a little catch up around the house. Pretty low key weekend, except I will break my bedtime a little bit tomorrow night. UFC 317, I think it is. So I'll be up watching those fights.
That's the one you're talking about a week ago, like the
no, it's not my favorite one. That's not until July 19th. This one is Oliveira is fighting Taporia is the main one. I don't remember who else is on the undercard, but that's the main one. It should be a good fight. I like watching those guys fight.
Yeah, man, and I know UFC is super popular, man. I've just never completely gotten into it, but I've never sitting down to really watch a whole fight. The closest thing to UFC I've probably watched, I guess I've looked at a little bit of the highlights, catch some on pay-per-view, like a lot of action going on, stop, but I don't know who I'm watching. Closest thing I got to watching it was when Floyd Mayweather fought, what's the boy from Ireland's name?
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I watched that one. I was actually in the DR when that fight happened on the resort, and they set it up, big screen out on the beach and stuff like that. But it's the only time I really paid attention to it, man. But that wasn't even what we're talking about. MMA.
That was a boxing match.
Boxing match, right. But I watched that whole fight. But yeah, man. So, man, anything else going on? I talked to the homie, man. Guess who texted me yesterday?
Moose.
You're close, but one of your boys that I met through you. I mean, Moose was my boy. I met you through, but one of your boys that I met through you.
I don't know.
Gus,
yeah.
Gus hit me up yesterday, man, just to check on me.
It's funny. I was when we were backstage, and I wasn't talking. I was in my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I was texting Gus.
Yeah, I told him we had a podcast this evening together, so
we're getting a little 4th of July celebration together.
Oh yeah, what you guys doing?
Low key going over to Gus's house and the all American stuff, hamburgers, hot dogs,
right.
Watching some fireworks.
Well, no doubt. Heard you guys talking about it. You guys may take a break from Running Through the Jungle.
Oh, we're not on next. We're not on Thursday. I'm gonna be tied up Thursday and Friday most likely.
Okay.
PTO. So gotta get some stuff done before the wife goes out of town.
Got you. Well, yeah, man. While we got a second, let's talk about real quick because we can small talk and cold open BS around while we waiting on pay. We're going to tell you what we're going to get into this evening. We're going to get into some AFC North news, talk some Bengals, talk some Steelers. Pay probably not much to say about the Ravens. We're really going to try and get into, no Diddy, really expand on and talk about what everybody's talking about, this whole NFL owners collusion thing.
You can't even
If it is,
get into it anymore without no Diddy. That's
I don't know,
woo.
man. I self-check myself all the time.
Your
It's
big G guard up is what you got. Like he always like
probably
trying to
so,
get you.
right. You're probably so.
He
Yeah,
blows
yeah.
the whistle for every little thing. I don't. It's got to be an egregious foul. We're gonna play through it for me. I'm good.
Right, right. Okay. Well, yeah, man, we're talking about, like I said, even if you can call it collusion between Goodell and the owners. I got a few thoughts on that. Pay will lead that discussion. B Dirt, what I'm gonna tell everybody now, man, is this weekend on the Know It Alls, we got a special guest, and he's actually a Cincinnati Bengals player, recent drafted this year. B Dirt might
Yeah,
know
but
better
that's
than
not
me
the reason why he's on the know-it-alls. I mean, you got to tell him why he's on the know-it-alls.
because B Dirt is gonna be on the Know It All with us this weekend, and because of that, Taj Brooks is coming on. So
No,
B
he's gonna
Dirt.
be on. He's gonna be on a know-it-alls because he's a Texas boy.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a hometown mod connect.
There it is.
But yeah, nonetheless, a Bengals draftee this year, running back. I mean, B Dirt, and I'm guessing he should make the squad. And he's like a fourth or fifth round pick.
Yeah, a fifth round, and not only do we think he's going to make the squad, but talking on Running Through the Jungle, we predicted him to be the number 2 back by the midseason.
Wow, so backing up Chase Brown.
Yep. Yeah, I think, and I think he's poised to have a really good spot there with that kind of thunder and lightning a little bit. With Chase Brown and Taj Brooks, and he's got a couple veterans there to learn from. Samaj Pirine may not be the back he once was, and Moss is lost a step, but those guys are consummate pros, and it's a good situation, I think.
Right, right. No, I don't doubt it. I like Chase Brown. I think the same thing with the Steelers. If we just jump into the whole AFC North side of things, I mean, I think similar to Chase Brown, Jalen Warren's going to be the starter to start the season, but the rookie from Iowa, Caleb Johnson's going to get a lot of work,
Yeah.
and I could see a scenario by just like the point of the season you mentioned. I could see at that point of the season where Caleb Johnson is the Steelers starting running back, and Jalen Warren is in the change of pace running back. So I could see a complete flip. Not that he's going to work his way up to 2. I think our rookie will eventually work his way up to 1 and get the majority of the carries. Still kind of splitting them, but getting the tough yardage carries inside the tackles and stuff like that.
Yeah, Ronald Blake asked in the live chat, Taj Brooks was a big back. Tim just answered 5'9", 215, but that's combine. I think he probably plays closer to 220, somewhere around there during the season. Short, compact, very muscular, but does run between the tackles very well. So a little more of a stocky type running back than what Chase Brown is.
Fuzzy B says all sports owners collude. We'll definitely get into that. Dang, Lil John, where Big G at? Big G had a schedule change on his work schedule. He had to work a little longer on Friday evenings to fill in for somebody, maybe for a couple weeks. But he'll be back with us eventually. But Big G is always here because most of our little graphics and stuff like that we put up are inspired by Big G. So every time a no Diddy's brought up or trash is brought up or something like that, Big G is here in spirit.
And let's be honest, the takes just aren't quite as hot.
They're not.
They're a little more reasonable, is what I would say.
I think I think that's a big part of it too, man. You know what I mean? That see, somebody got a hot take. We still got Big G here.
Bloviating.
But yeah, man, I agree. I think that's probably part of it. Um, Phoenix 55 HD. Steelers looking pretty good. I just wish they would stop messing around and get that number 2 wide receiver or a real playmaker, not no budget wide receiver, and go get it done. To get Jalen Ramsey, go hard. Phoenix, that's a no Diddy in our book. But I know what you mean by go hard. And
Yeah, I mean that could
and
yeah,
come
that could get
on and come with it. That really it makes me go back and have to reconsider and really have to give you a no Diddy. But go hard and come with it. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, no, I agree with you, man. As far as the number 2 wide receiver, and you said don't mess around with a with a get a real playmaker, kind of like not just a ho hum wide number 2 wide receiver. If they get Jalen Ramsey, who I think is kind of falling off the table a little bit now, they won't get that receiver. Now, if they don't get Jalen Ramsey, I think they could go in a little more on a bigger name wide receiver. But we'll see. Things will play out. I think what the Steelers are doing are waiting until, like the first round of cuts and see who gets cut or who doesn't get signed and kind of trying to wait for a little deal. But okay. So B Dirt, let's take our first break real quick. Then we're gonna come back. I don't know if you got the homework. Now, I sent homework out, man. Nobody ever replies or comments and got it, thumbs up it, no nothing.
Nope.
You
All
know,
you gotta do is get it done, though. You know what I mean?
oh, okay. Well, we'll get into your part of the assignment as soon as we get back from this quick break. If you
What
watching on, go ahead.
thumbs up. Get those algorithms up right now. Share us. Tell a friend to tell a friend about us. Get us out there. Get those likes up, and let's get it moving.
That part. All of on all the channels. Running through the jungle, the know it alls, frustrated Chicago sports fan, where we all kind of, do all our stuff collectively, the homies anyway. So yeah, check them all out. Fans First Sports Network. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe to all those channels. If you really want to see everything we do and get notifications, but I'm not asking to I'm not asking you that you have to do that. If you want to keep up with us, do that. But it's nothing to subscribe. Just subscribe. Go ahead and do that for us. We greatly appreciate it. But like I said, we'll take our first break here. We're not going anywhere. If you're watching on YouTube, stay with us. If you're listening on the audio platform, on the audio side, we'll have to hear a few words from our partners and advertisers, and we'll be right back after this. And we're back on the Homies podcast on a Friday night. It's me and B Dirt here right now. Pay is with us. Like I said, taking care of some stuff off camera. Um, take on another important call. That's what's going on. B Dirt, your homework, man. I think he has. I'm pretty sure I know he does. I have it here. Joe Burrow has the third highest odds to win the
Yeah.
MVP this year.
Lamar
He's my.
Jackson and Josh Allen are both at 550, and Joe Burrow's at 650 is what I got.
There you go, right there, man.
Okay, so
Oh,
I don't know where you got yours from. Mine's from DraftKings.
this isn't this is some sports book, something like that.
Okay, so mine was 550, 550, 650. So it's close. And then Mahomes was 7. That's what I had. They had Jaden Daniels at 750, and that's mostly, they're going to be in the same ballpark. They're going to move a little bit based upon where they're getting money placed, really.
Right.
Then they had Hurts at plus 1,700. Herbert at plus 1,800. Then Stroud was 2,500. The first
Okay.
non-quarterback was Saquon at plus 5,000. And then Derrick Henry was plus 6,000. To shed light on how odd they think it would be for a running back to win that MVP, Michael Penix Jr. also plus 6,000. They think it's just
Michael Penix Jr. plus 6,000.
Yeah, they think it's almost as likely that he'll win the MVP award than a running back.
No doubt. I mean, that makes
That's wild
sense. I mean, because the last few, is the last non-quarterback to win it? Was that AP?
I'm not sure. Anybody in chat know who the last non-quarterback was? I don't know. But Saquon didn't win it last year. I don't know when we're going to hang our hat on him winning it.
Yeah. What I got real quick off Google AI was AP in 2012.
A long time ago.
Long time ago, man.
Time ago.
That just tells me that it's really become a glorified quarterback award, most valuable quarterback. I mean, because there certainly are difference makers in other positions on the field.
I'll tell you what, I think I actually liked the odds last year for Burrow a little bit better. He went off at plus 950, I think it was. I liked those odds a little bit.
Right, he probably was down there like 5 or 6 last year.
Yeah.
now he's up with the top 2 or 3.
And
he's
listen,
right there.
I just don't trust that he'll win the award even if he has a little bit better season than he did last year.
Wow, why is that? Because if he played for a good team last year, a playoff team, a winning team, not that they weren't good, they're definitely good offensively.
If he would,
I think he could have won.
If the Chiefs win the game and we make the playoffs, I still don't think he wins. I mean, we were one loss away from another team for us getting in the playoffs. So we weren't that far off. We'd had one more win. I don't think he wins that award. And listen, part of it is I think it's just the stigma of the Bengals. I think he's going to have head and shoulders above what Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes has for them to finally give him that award. Now, the other part that I don't like this year, and I don't like the plus 650, is I'm getting less odds, and I feel like I have more question marks right now on defense than I did last year. I feel like we regressed. We didn't get what we thought we were going to out of Geno Stone. That was a big part of it. We have new pieces. We have a new piece at linebacker coming in. We don't know exactly what our defensive edge looks like right now. So, I don't know about that.
Well, no, I just think. I don't think a 9-8 quarterback wins MVP. So when I say if you guys played a little better, that means win a couple more games. Not if you made the playoffs. Like, I think if you got to 11 or 12, he'd have got it with his numbers he had last year. Because the perception and the appearance would be, man, he carried the team with that terrible defense. He got 12 wins and put up these stats. He's your favorite to me last year. Because they split against the Ravens, right?
No.
Ravens won both games last year.
Won both games by a total of 3 points.
Wow. Okay. That could have been a factor if
that's
that
smart.
and everything else that happened.
That's smart.
Yeah. But okay, man. So what? Well, I know we were gonna have you put your way too early projections for Joe Burrow out there, numbers wise. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and hear what you got, man.
Now, I understand that we're here with a lot of the Steel Curtain Network and the family in the chat. I want you to know what I'm getting ready to say here is Joe Burrow's stat line. I'm not sitting up here and saying that the Bengals are going to go 14-3. I want everybody to know that when I'm saying this. But I think Joe Burrow's stat line, part of it is if he had a great defense, I don't think he would be able to get to repeat what he did last year with 4,900 yards and 40 plus touchdowns. But he doesn't have a great defense again this year. We're calling it a big win if we get to the middle of the pack, somewhere around 17, 18. I would call it a big win for our defense. If they played what they played the last 8 games of the year, if they had that for the entire season, we call it a big win. So because of that, because of the other thing that I think that people aren't taking a hard enough look at, he didn't add any new wide receivers this year. We got Jamar, we got T, we've got Yoshi, we've got Gesicki back. They said the young man from Alabama is looking like he might get a little more maturity level. We'll see, to be continued. But all those things, he's familiar with everybody in that locker room catching passes. Chase Brown worked with a wide receiver coach running routes in the offseason. All these things, I think he's getting to work on some more in-depth things instead of trying to bring up rookies into like the fold and bring them up to speed. So I'm going to sit up here and predict that Joe Burrow this season will have the best season of his career statistically. 2025-26 season. So I'm going to go 5,150 passing yards, the first Bengal to ever hit 5,000 yards. That's 200 more yards than he had last year. I'm going to go 46 touchdowns, slightly higher than he had last year. And I'm going to go 10 interceptions, one more than he had last year. So I'm going to give him 200 more yards, 3 more touchdowns, and 1 more pick. I think he has the best year of his career, and I think we almost need it in order to get into the playoffs.
Nice, man. That's a heck of a season. Definitely a heck of a season. I mean, if he just repeats last year and they win 11 games, 12 games, I think he's right there with those guys.
I mean, it's less than 12 yards a game increase at the end of the day.
Right. Oh, yeah, no. Certainly capable. I'm just saying if he puts up this same exact numbers and you guys get a couple more wins, he's right there in the mix. Well, where did he finish last year in MVP?
Oh, I don't even remember. I don't remember.
I mean,
you're not first, you're last.
That's true.
Bobby said it well.
I feel like I still feel like Lamar Jackson should have got it last year. His numbers were just really good. Who? No, Buffalo
Burrow
was
was
1-1
fourth.
C, weren't they? Burrow was 4th. So who was in order?
Josh Allen,
Jackson,
Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley.
Saquon was 3rd.
Joe
Right.
Burrow, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes.
Makes sense. So, man, real quick, everybody in the live chat, we got a super chat from Claude. Driving, hello, everyone. Great show so far. And B Dirt, your Bengals still suck. Tim Lyons replies, the homie Tim says, put Claude in the Matrix. I'm guessing this for that. So Claude, man, you know you are a boy, but got to put you in the Matrix, man. Not for any reason other than Tim requested, and then you over here trolling again. That's really why. But every week you troll, Claude, but we expect it. We love it. We appreciate it. Shout out to everybody in the live chat, man. Live chat's been cranking. After in the building, Fuzzy B in the building, Phoenix 55,
Jared
Val Ford, Jar Devil,
Fuzzy.
Pittsburgh Tie. Yeah, I'd call him Fuzzy B. And just everybody that's Ronald Blake, everybody's been here. And B Dirt, you know I gotta Big G
Mark
and you
Cunningham.
are kind of Mark in the building. What's up, Mark? Shout out, homie. Hey man, you know, you and Big G, well, Big G first, and now you got the signs, right?
Yeah.
I come with the different little graphics.
Yeah.
I got one for Big G. He's not here. I showed it to him earlier because we know Big G started the whole thing about double saluting, but what he said at the time was go both ways. Remember that?
He sure did. Yeah.
He's I'll go both ways.
It was the No Diddy Hall of Fame right there.
No Diddy Hall of Fame. And now we got something to commemorate it. So for everybody in live chat, thanks for joining us. This is from all of us, but especially from Big G, the double salute.
I salute you with both hands.
Oh, no, man. You dug out of the archives.
Archives, no doubt. But yeah, man. So
yeah, I last week, and I thought to myself, man, if I'd never seen the show before, I would have not gotten any of what was going on whatsoever. It was definitely tailored to those of you who follow and watch us on a regular basis or listen on a regular basis, because just the comment that I watch all 22 film 26 hours a day, not knowing in reference to or what that was poking fun at would have been a little off.
Right. But yeah, all that was a poke at the homie G, man.
All in good fun.
All in good fun. Definitely all in good fun. I mean, I think everything we do is all in good fun. I mean, yeah, because we all are literally homies, all get along outside of here, you know. Get a little tired of mostly all the Big G's texting, but you know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he texts so long, so fast, man. Like, dude got like long. I'm not reading that, so I never know what he said. I just go back and
it's paragraphs,
yeah. The only time I do that is when I'm sending the show notes once a week. That's about all y'all really hear from me unless something really comes up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. So real quick, to the Steelers news, hopefully Pay gets here. We can talk about this whole owners and the
real quick though. Let me put a bow on this Joe Burrow stuff.
Go ahead.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Right now on DraftKings, the over/under on yardage for Burrow is set at 4150.5, and the over/under TDs at 33.5.
No, wait. Say it again. The over/under is what?
On touchdowns is 33.5. You can like the Bengals, you can hate the Bengals, but you should run over there to DraftKings right now and place your bets. That's going over.
I agree. That's two a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, I think he does that. Yeah, I would take the over on that. Anything else over under that you betting on Burrow?
No, I'm staying away from the MVP betting this year. I'm just going to bet the over on his yards and the over on his touchdowns.
What was the over on the yards?
4,150.5.
Yeah, I take that over too. I mean, if the Bengals are even going to be competitive, he has to hit those marks. Yeah, just because, like you said about the defense, I mean, I think you guys probably got scored 24, 27 a game. You know, because I mean, I imagine your defense will give up at least 20 a game. That's a legit defense. That's probably a top 10 defense if you just get up 20. But yeah, so I would take those overs too, man.
Yeah, I
Hell,
mean,
might
if you got
even
average 245 yards a game, you win.
right. Yeah, he does that. He does that. But real quick to the Steelers part of it, man. And some of this stuff had happened already. I know last time, I know how much we talked about it. I think it happened by last Friday, but I don't know that we did talk about it last Friday. But the Steelers re-signed DeSean Elliott, safety DeSean Elliott. They extended him. He was on his grade going to the second year of a 2-year, $6 million deal. Played really great last year. Had the number 2 tackling rate last year for safeties, PFS. Only missed, I believe, 2 tackles out of 108 opportunities, or maybe made 108 and only missed 2. But so yeah, he was a great tackler. Broke up quite a few passes last year, and he's to me, I think probably the most Steeler fans. He's like he's a legit Steeler by just by character and by nature, by the way he plays the game, man. So thought that was a good sign. They extended him 2 more years at 12 million a year, so they doubled his salary. But you know, 6 million a year from 3 million a year for his production he had last year for 2 more years after this year, I think is really, really good. So we don't have to necessarily draft a safety high next year. We may have had to if we didn't sign him. That frees up some stuff. Uh, Arron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee earlier this week. And I like all the things Arron Rodgers had to say. He won't say it. He said he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. I don't think Arron Rodgers does have to prove anything to anybody. I think Arron Rodgers only wants to prove something to himself. I think he wants to come back and have a good season, play well for himself. And if he's going to go out, because he mentioned retirement, if he's going to go out, you know, guns blazing, trying to go out on top. And retirement, he should talk about it. He's 41 years old. By the time it's week 17, week 18, he's going to be 42 years old. So, that's when you're a football player, a lot of guys have been retired. It's only a recent phenomenon that guys like Peyton Manning hung on to get one more carry by the defense. Brady left New England and went down to Tampa, where he had a lot more weapons and wasn't playing in frigid temperatures at the second half of the season, stuff like that. He went down to where people retire, down to Florida. Tom Brady did. Now, Arron Rodgers, I imagine Pittsburgh's a little warmer than Green Bay. Not like going from New England to Tampa, but they don't always talk about the frozen tundra for nothing. That's a thing, So
Very true.
I think he can play well. He's still obviously, if 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks in our division are 2 of the top 3 MVP favorites, he's going to be the 3rd best quarterback in our division. But that don't mean he's not like a top 6 or 7 in the AFC. I think I would say Patrick Mahomes is better, but depending on the day, long term, I would take Justin Herbert over him. Maybe G's boy CJ Stroud. But we're not looking long term. We're looking for this year. And I kind of like what Arron Rodgers can bring. So the retirement thing, I wouldn't worry about. The Steelers have a big season. He wins a lot of games and wins the playoff game. I think if they were to, luck up, or not even luck up, work their way to an AFC championship appearance, I think he comes back. He'll be like, let's try this thing one more time. And Steelers are still drafting quarterback, and you'll have 2 young quarterbacks on the roster getting to learn and be mentored by Arron Rodgers. So moving forward, I can see there's a potential win-win for the Steelers, either way it goes.
I got a fun stat here for you. Now, part of this obviously is going to be the way that the Steelers also play the game of football. But on that same DraftKings regular season MVP, there are 11 quarterbacks in the AFC that have better odds to win the MVP award than Arron Rodgers, including Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, Bo Nix, just to name a few.
I don't agree with Drake May. Everybody else, I can see them being up there.
Like I said, let's not just say that's going to just mean that they're going to have a better season or do better. It's just also you got to think about the way the Steelers play football. It's going to be very complimentary. I don't think you're going to have a ton of 300-yard plus games. He'll get a couple. I'm sure he will. They'll take advantage of what the defense is giving them, but they're going to try and run the ball and play defense and control the clock. That's what they do.
Yeah, I believe that's a big part of it. But I can see guys like Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix probably going to rush for about 500 or 600 yards. Add that to whatever he does. He's going to probably have about 4 or 5 quarterback touchdown rushes. The Steelers aren't planning on rushing Arron Rodgers at all. No QB sneaks, no rollout bootlegs, none of that. So, so those other guys are younger. They'll get some of those, not hidden numbers, but extra padded numbers. You know what I mean? Padded numbers. If quarterback wins was a quarterback statistic, he'll have more wins than Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix. I expect the Broncos to be good, but the Broncos play in a tough division. I mean, the Chargers are going to be better. The Raiders are going to be better. The Broncos could regress. I think they were a surprise team last year. They could regress. But yeah, so, I don't think he's MVP. I'm just saying game by game, week by week, I take Arron Rodgers over probably all but 4 or 5 AFC quarterbacks. So to me, that means in a conference where 16 teams in each conference, you got number 5 or 6, you got an opportunity. So, we'll see. But yeah, all the retirement talks, nothing to worry about now. We'll talk about it when the time arrives. Mark Cunningham had a comment that we lost to KC, and he said we can't have people running around wide effing open. I knew we were going to extend him. Absolute baller. I agree, man. Yeah. I read this week. Didn't really get into the story, but he kind of called Patrick Queen out also last year. And I guess they played a little bit together in Baltimore, that relationship. But yeah, DeSean Elliott ain't no punk, man. He'll tell anybody whatever he got to tell him. So counting that, wore the same number, same jersey for the Steelers, man. Kind of that Ryan Clark model, that mode, number 25 for the Steelers. Ryan Clark was a beast, was complimentary to Troy Polamalu, the best safety on the team, just like DeSean Elliott is that necessary piece to go next to Minka Fitzpatrick, allow him to play his best. So, go ahead, man.
Tate, what do you think about Tim Lyon's question over here in the chat? It says, you think that Bo Nix has a sophomore slump. What are your thoughts on that?
Tim. I'm looking for the comment. How far back is it?
It's 8:48. It might be on, because remember how we're sharing channels? Might be on a different channel.
No, it's him.
There it is.
I think it's possible, man. I think
Stroud had a really bad one last year.
He did. I still don't think the expectations are there for him. Yeah, I think his numbers could get better, and the team might not be as good as it was last year. I think his numbers get better just from experience in the system and stuff like that. But like I said, Geno's in the division now versus whoever the quarterback was for the Raiders last year, the kid from Purdue and somebody else. I can't remember who the Raiders quarterback was last year. So I think the Raiders get better. Patrick Mahomes will have a better year this year, getting Rashee Rice back. And didn't they draft somebody too? So I think Patrick Mahomes will be better. And Herbert, they got some more offensive pieces.
Yep.
They were a playoff team last year, so he could not regress statistically, but regress in the team's win column, and we would think that that's a sophomore slump, but potentially not.
And I think both those teams, especially when you look at I look at Jaden Daniels too. I thought about the sophomore slump. This is a great point by Ronald Blake, I can kind of pull into this. CJ Stroud, I think a lot of his sophomore slump was injuries and had no blocking up the middle whatsoever on that offensive line. And if you look at what they've done in the offseason, the Texans have tried to retool that offensive line a little bit. Then you
got weapons.
And got weapons. And then you look at Washington. The Commanders have done the same thing. They've added to the offensive line. They've also added weapons. So I think, Bo Nix, he got some new weapons, running back and wide receiver in the draft. And I think if you look at both of those teams, they're trying to do, and Ronald Blake nail on the head here, Denver's O-line is excellent. And they upgraded the running back room. So if you look at those things, I think they're trying to prevent what happened to CJ Stroud for sure.
Yeah, I think they're trying to prevent it. And like I said, he didn't have to regress statistically. But everything I alluded to was everybody else in the division getting better. So it's going to be tougher still. And,
Very true.
Sean Payton is a great coach. I don't know why Sean Payton gets love. He left a job and has some losing seasons, has won the same amount of Super Bowls as him and Mike Tomlin, and Sean Payton's on top of his game. But that's another discussion. That's just me nitpicking his stuff. How Sean Payton's looked at favorably, but fire Tomlin all the time. But yeah, so that's it in Steelers news outside of George Pickens leaving a whole bunch of little kids that signed up for his football camp. And when he got traded, he said he wanted to come back and do the camp. And then he just all of a sudden backs out last minute. And luckily, Pat Fryermuth is going to show up and do the camp. So it's no longer the George Pickens camp. It's the Pat Fryermuth camp. So shout out to the homie Pat for doing that. And these kids can still get to, go to a real Steelers player, one of the starting players football camp. So shout out to Pat Fryermuth. AFL 67, what's up? Tate, what Knicks does has absolutely nothing to do with what other QBs do.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't understand. The original question was Tim said that we can have a sophomore slump. And I guess I didn't really answer it, so because I was leaning towards no, I guess. But that's him statistically, I'm saying, and not so much that Denver will be a playoff team next year. I don't know.
Yeah,
that
you're
part.
right, though. The West did get better.
Right. So other QBs will affect his win-loss. If they were 10-7 last year, if they're 9-8, one game worse, but don't make the playoffs, and he has a better statistical season, how will you look at it?
I wouldn't call that a slump.
That's where I'm at. I'm not saying he'll slump, but he could be statistically better than the team not do as well as they did last year. So, yeah, AFL. I guess I saw Pay poke his face in there, but I guess he's never going to join us, man. Rob Lightfoot says the Raiders are much better. Pickens, Style Force said Pickens is a low life for that punk move. I agree it was a punk move by backing out on little campers at the last minute.
After he said he would, you know what I mean? That's the problem. Like once he got traded, if he would have just announced that it was canceled, okay.
Right. I think that's where everybody is at too. I certainly am with that. I mean, I don't want to call a guy a low life. I think it's a bad thing to do, but low life seems a bit personal to me. The only couple athletes I go on in the joking way is DeSean Watson.
That's right.
and Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker got suspended or something, I saw, man. Like, he don't have a team, but he's suspended.
Wax poetically.
Another question, AFL. Take the point, sophomore slump is not based on making the playoffs because other teams are better. It's just how he plays. So I said, no, he doesn't necessarily have to have a sophomore slump. He could play better, which I think he does because
But
he's just
doesn't translate into a better record.
right.
That was
Because
asterisk.
right. It's just another lap around the block that he's familiar with. So I think statistically he'll do better because if I remember last year, the first 4 or 5 weeks, he didn't play well at all. Then Denver, because like when they played the Steelers early, he didn't play well at all. Then he got hot and they won like 5 or 6 games, and Denver turned it around. Their defense started playing better, and Patrick Surtain was the defensive player of the year. So as a team, they did better and they won games. Next year, Bo Nix will have better stats than he had in 2024. In 2025, his stats will be better, but I don't think Denver makes the playoffs. So take that how you will. You know? Afton saying 10 games. For who, Afton? For the Broncos? No. Be there. What you say? 10 games for the Broncos? That's what you're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
No, I think they got a little bit more of a favorable schedule last year. I'll go 9-8.
Well, that's
right
that's
there.
about where
9
I'm
and 8.
at. Yeah.
9-8.
Because they were 10-7 last year.
Tucker's suspension.
Yeah, he's suspended.
Oh, Afton said Tugger's suspension.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Is it 10 games?
I don't know.
She should be a question mark beside. Let me find out. Go ahead and talk about something, B Dirt.
I don't know if he's going to come back or not. Will somebody give him a chance? It's a little risky. Rob Blake says the Broncos running back R.J. Harvey, Steelers liked him a lot. That's a guy out of Central Florida. Dobbins, if he can stay healthy, and McAfee, slasher back. We need Biggie Bronco on here, and he can confirm about that roster. Biggie Bronco ducked in for running through the jungle, and just from the overall feel of his comments in our comment section a few weeks ago, I'm pretty sure he thinks that the Broncos are going to go 16-1 this year. So I think that would be his prediction. He really likes his squad.
Yeah, I mean, and they surprised last year, and I think were surprisingly better than I thought they'd be last year. They made the playoffs. They played a heck of a game against the Bengals last year. Who won? That was a close game. Who won that game? The Bengals pulled it out, didn't they?
If we would have, yeah, I think so. Do the Broncos have the second number 2 schedule or number 3 schedule this year? They finish behind the Chargers or Chargers?
I think remember. They finished behind the Chargers. They played Buffalo, so Buffalo was they lost to Buffalo. Buffalo was the 2 seed behind the Ravens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would have been 7. The Steelers were 6 and went to Baltimore.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at their schedule. They might be able to pull off 10. But they do play the Packers, the Commanders, obviously Chiefs twice, the Chargers twice, but they got the Raiders twice. I don't know. Maybe.
All right, man.
Well, the Eagles, though. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be a competitive team. I mean, they might be in a similar kind of boat as the Steelers. They made it last year. Maybe they're good enough to make it this year. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I can see the Steelers and Broncos fighting for that 6 or 7 seed towards the end of the year against each other. So we'll see. But be dirt, man. Waiting on pay to talk about the exclusive collusion cover-up.
The pay report.
The pay report. We try to do the pay report without pay, man. Pay if you can hear us, man.
Where's he at?
But, man, so I think it was dropped by Mike Florio like last week sometime. An arbitrator, I think all this came out because it's been trying to be hidden. Not sure what from the player by the NFLPA president trying to keep this stuff under wraps, like it even coming out. I don't understand why from the player side. I think because I heard he said some things um, that weren't favorable about some players. So he wants to keep the stuff under wraps. But the whole thing is that after DeSean Watson, and it always takes the Browns to like F things up, right? Because they did it again with the whole Myles Garrett thing, in my opinion. But when they paid DeSean Watson, and that in the bottom corner, that's a Jimmy Haslem, the owner, and DeSean Watson, old Jurgens, the homie Jurgens. But guaranteed him $230 million. That's when things started to go off the rails. And it sounds like in an effort to regain control and kind of reset and balance the market, the player salary market, especially for quarterbacks, it was supposedly asked not to give players as much guaranteed contracts, not as much guaranteed money as like 100% fully guaranteed. Like, no, let's not do that at all. That's not even smart business for any team, let alone it makes all the other players that are better than the player that got the guaranteed money feel like they should be entitled to that. So I guess B Dirt, this whole thing, and in effect, a couple AFC North quarterbacks, DeSean Watson being one of them. When Lamar Jackson contract was up, I believe the Ravens didn't sign him right away. The Ravens let him test the market and see what, because they had no plans of letting him go or trading him or anything. They just let him test the market and see what he was worth because they knew they could match whatever he got, right? So they kind of let the market dictate what Lamar Jackson's pay would be. And if this is after, the owners were told, let's keep the market level, keep it down, then Lamar Jackson wouldn't have got a fair offer without that being said from any of the other teams. So, the Ravens let him go out and see that he wasn't going to get that much guaranteed money. So, okay, we can offer him. We're going to offer him. We're not going to give him fully guaranteed money because that was around the time that Lamar Jackson was maybe a year after DeSean Watson, maybe two when the negotiations started. But B Dirt, what do you think about this whole thing, man? I see Russell Wilson when he signed that big deal with Denver. Said Russell Wilson was asked the Broncos for 7 years, $350 million, fully guaranteed. So he's figured if DeSean Watson got 230 with what he's done in the league, then I should be able to get 350 for 7 years for what I've done in the league. Would be $50 million a year, fully guaranteed. Russ didn't get that. He got something different. But maybe when they got that, if this message was sent out to the owners. So I don't really know how I feel about it. But B Dirt, let's start the discussion about how do you feel about it?
So the whole piece with Michael Florio, and for those who don't know, Florio spent, I think 17 or 18 years as a lawyer. Like this is in his wheelhouse. As far as reporting goes. And it was him and Pablo Torre that broke the story.
That's whose pay's covering up on the pay report.
Yeah. And there were some fascinating things that were in it. And there was a lot of, so they had an executive order for research into this where they have to basically, all the teams there was text messages, emails, all that stuff. If you remember back to the John Gruden thing, kind of the same discovery that you're allowed to do. It's an open book, and there's a lot of things that can be uncovered there. Well, really, kind of the weird one was that I found weird was Arizona, their owner Michael Bidwell. There was text messages to Dean Spano, the owner for the Chargers, and basically he said, "Hey Dino, we got our guy Kyler Murray on the cheap." He said, "There's so many incentives in this contract, he'll never get to the good money. So you're going to be able to get a deal on Herbert. Just follow the language in the contract we set up." And that's kind of like, the collusion aspect of it. There's also some reports of meetings where, I just don't like Goodell like advised them not to give as much guaranteed money in these meeting notes. There's just a lot of really pretty awful things that shouldn't happen, but we all know, like, if you would have put a gun to my head and said, does this happen behind closed doors? 1,000% I would have said yes. Yep. I'll bet my life on it. Go for it. But there were some other things that were in this report and in the discovery that were even more baffling. It's like how the executive director of the NFL Players Association is actually voted on, and like none of the people that vote on the chair, none of those players that and people get to actually find out who they're going to be voting for in the group until the meeting starts. So they can't do any research on it, can't do any of those things. Lloyd Howell Jr. is the executive director of National Football, and the only reason why, to me, it's noteworthy at all is because he did not come from sports. He did not come from the NFL. He didn't come from anything. He was a CFO for Booz Allen Hamilton, and he retired from his position as CFO because they were engulfed into a scandal of like record proportion for scamming the U.S. government and government contracts. So basically, the private contracts that they had were starting to lose money, so they overbilled the U.S. government to the tune of about $200 million. And that's who's running the NFLPA right now. And, there was no like due cause as far as getting the whole report is wild. The collusion, the NFL Players Association, how it's being ran right now, everything. And here's pay back for the pay report that I just spilled about half of.
Hey, take it over, man.
I was doing my best to be a fancy gentleman here, Pay. Talk intelligently.
I don't think you heard anything we said.
Did you hear it? Did you hear anything we said?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
I can hear you.
Turn your volume down just a little bit.
All right.
Did you hear anything I was talking about?
At what point? At the last 5 minutes?
About Michael Bidwell texting Dino. I talked about that. And I was just talking about Lloyd Howell and his affiliation with Booz Allen Hamilton, if you want to enlighten people about that.
Lloyd Howell.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I know who he is, but he's top guy in the union. In any case, what were you all talking about?
Collusion.
I know, but I heard bits and pieces. This headphone's all the way over there, but I heard something that you all were saying, but I don't know what you said.
I was talking about Michael Bidwell texting Dean Spano about getting Kyler Murray on a deal that was so into the weeds as far as incentives that he would never get to the good money in that contract, so he would be able to get a good deal on Herbert. I also kind of brushed right past a little bit of the Roger Goodell, kind of advising them to pay less in fully guaranteed money. But
basically,
I didn't get into that too big.
Yeah, basically it was an advantageous deal for the Arizona Cardinals, which is great for everybody else, right? That's why Dean Spanos, who's the owner of the Chargers, texted him congratulations, like, thank you for Congratulations for signing your quarterback long term. It's a great deal, and it's going to help me in my negotiations with my quarterback, because we don't want to do what that guy in Cleveland did. Did you all talk about Cleveland? I heard DeSean Watson's name, but did you all talk about that?
Didn't get into it too big, no.
Well, yeah. Speaking about DeSean Watson, he speaking about him, and his Diddy, and they're always getting too deep into stuff. But in any case, for those that get really get all their sports news from ESPN and other NFL partners, you probably didn't hear about the story because they ain't really covered it that way. If you listen to Mike Florio of PFT, he not ascertains, but he alleges that it's because they are media partners and the NFL is squashing this story. So I'll just go ahead. I'll brushstroke it real quick. And the NFL has what's called a council of owners. It's called the Management Council, in which during this meeting in 2022, after DeSean Watson was signed to that fully guaranteed deal with the Browns, Roger Goodell told all the owners, he said, "Hey, don't do that no more. Don't do that," which is a smoking gun of colluding, right? I mean, it should be maybe some legalese, but that's pretty much where this starts from. The union found out, and they took him to court. And so what happened about 5 months ago, an arbitrator released a 61-page document ruling that the National Football League more than likely, quote unquote, more than likely colluded to suppress guaranteed dollars around the league. Again, origins of that DeSean Watson contract. The point of contention of all this is that the judge said they more than likely colluded. However, you can't prove that just because nobody else has signed a player to a fully guaranteed deal. It is not because Roger Goodell said it. It is probably just because nobody else wants to pay anybody that way, which I find to be BS. Lamar Jackson was brought in to testify. They got his text messages between him and DaCosta where he's saying, "Hey, look, I'm gonna keep asking for the fully guaranteed deal." And they going back and forth. And he's on record as well saying that we wish Cleveland didn't do this because it makes it extremely harder for us to get our quarterback signed, and so on and so forth. But the things that was shocking to me in this, there's a few things. One, coming back to the AFC North, J.C. Trotter, you all know, longtime Cleveland Browns guy. It was uncovered that he was talking crap about former Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson. That's probably one reason why the union didn't want this report to get put out, because it makes the union look bad. Because if the union has a judgment saying that their partners are colluding against them, why would you not bring this to the forefront? Why would you not bring this to DC? Why would you not try to get Goodell, fired, disbarred, and all that stuff like that, like a good union would do? The reason is because one of the top guys, J.C. Treader, was calling Russell Wilson, quote unquote, a wuss for not reading his contract correctly, because Russell thought he had it fully guaranteed with Denver. He did not. And two, for not pressing Denver.
Yeah, we did talk about that real quick, where Russ asked for 7-year, $350 guaranteed, and this was after DeSean Watson, like you said. And perhaps if all these discussions, all these text messages back and forth didn't go on, maybe Russ could have got the 7-year, $350 fully guaranteed, but we won't know. Sounds like I interjected just in time, but now I'll go back to Pay if Pay's ready to join us again.
The other part of it, like they basically said, from my understanding, that they couldn't prove it was collusion because it wasn't collusion because it didn't work, or something along those lines. It was very weird the way it was like actually stated in their discovery. It was like, they probably colluded but they didn't succeed in their collusion because it was so close to fully guaranteed. So therefore, they weren't going to be found guilty of collusion. And that's kind of like the point they brought up in the interview that I listened to was, if you try and kill somebody and you're not successful, you still get charged with attempted murder. Like, what is there an attempted collusion? Is there, like, if you're attempting to collude against, the NFL Players Association, it's still collusion.
Well, B. Dirt, let me ask you this. I agree with Pace said when he was talking that or maybe you said it, that they're not going to say it's collusion, but we know that they can collude, but they might not call it collusion, right? I mean, so to me, is it like a salary cap like collusion? I mean, the NFL makes astronomical money, and the salary cap could be larger, but the owners get together and say, this is going to be the amount that we're going to spend.
That's collectively bargained, though. So that's the defense of that, right? So the NFL players have to agree to playing the 17th game. They have to agree to taking 48% of the profits. They have to agree to all those things. But yeah, I mean, the collusion part is like the behind closed doors things that happen, right? Where
it's not out and open for everybody.
Behind owners. And how can you be surprised? Like, you have all these billionaire owners, and listen, there's some brilliant people that own NFL teams, and there's also a large group of them that are giant toddlers that are worth billions of dollars. It's absolutely wild place.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah, as Mike Florio alleges, Tate, the mere existence of this management council is collusive. Them getting together and trying to share best practices when they're supposed to be competing, that makes no sense. Like, do you think Wendy's, Shake Shack, McDonald's, and the rest of them getting together to talk about?
If it was a marketing meeting, okay,
right.
Outside of that, no. How you run your day-to-day operations shouldn't be a part of that discussion.
Exactly.
Well, I agree with you completely. There could be a best practice summit for business, but different businesses. But these are all football owners, like you said, and they're all competing against each other, and then they're sharing best practice. So I guess
So if I work in the food service industry, we distribute food to restaurants. If the top 30 companies in food distribution in the country got together every year to share practices and pricing information, it would be immediately those 30 CEOs would be thrown in jail. Period, point blank.
To me, it feels like we all already assume the owners are going to do something irky, right? We assume the owners are going to look up they're going to look up they're going to look up for their best interests and themselves. The point that I found to be most alarming is that the union, they're not doing in the best interest of themselves. They should be decertified, if you ask me, because how many players are in the league? What, 700 or so, right?
Way more than that.
53
a team, 32 teams.
16 on the practice squad too. So 70 by 32 is 2,100.
You know what? I say veterans. Let's count out. Let's not talk about the rookies and the practice squad players. This is all people that are eligible to get a fully guaranteed deal, right? Those guys. So it's about 500 or so. Let's just say 1,000.
Yeah, it'd be 9. Yeah, I was gonna say about 900, 800.
Yeah. Do you know? Can you just imagine the damages that will be available if they took this to a judge? You could retire. I don't need to take no more hits. I'm set. My grandkids are set. That's the type of money we're talking about.
Mm. Yeah, it's
so
so much.
It is I'm serious. It's reprehensible. As somebody who's in a union for 15 years, I would be livid. You're not getting another set of union dues out of me. In fact, I need all new leadership, and we need to go right back into court, go right to DC, and I need everybody. Everybody's got to go. JC Treader on down.
Yeah, it's wild. I feel like when you get to that billionaire status, I just wait to hear words like collusion or evasion, or like those are the words I associate in that tax bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you see what did you see what Robert Kraft said about John Mara? No, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Mara, he called all of this stuff ridiculous because he's not colluding. Yeah. What? Why was Saquon Barkley available? It makes me wonder, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird subject for sure.
Exactly.
Put a bow on it, Pay, and just tell us, give us your final thought on it.
My final thought was that, we expect the owners to look out for themselves, to penny pinch and all of this stuff like that. The players have been wronged. The coaches have been wronged. Training staffs, everybody's staff, everybody from the owners on down has been wrong because they're keeping money to themselves. Think about, they split the profits 52-48, if I'm not mistaken. 48% of the cap goes to the players. That's you got to share that with a lot of players, like you said, 2,100 people, right? But the other 52% comes to the owners, and they get to split out. They get to divvy out, pay the coaches, pay the staff, however much they want to keep the rest for their super yachts. So we're all just noticing more and more in America that the greed from the 80s is back. Greed is good, as my man Gordon Gekko said, and the NFL just put it out there for consumption, and the NFL union did nothing about it.
That's when you say the 80s are back. Is that like the whole trickle down thing? Like it's supposed to trickle down, but we know it from the owners down to everybody else, but we know it doesn't really all trickle down.
Mostly I was talking about when your boy deregulated the stock market, and then you saw rampant criminality on Wall Street, rampant criminality with from everybody that was getting it. Everybody that had their hand in pockets, they was just stealing money.
Yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street. Okay, that's where you were at.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe you were leaning more towards Reaganomics and how that whole thing was supposed to work.
All of it's connected. I mean, you can pull it to that, right? So, I mean, he figured the country runs better when Wall Street is less regulated, which in some theories you can put that out there, but as you also know, human history tells us with less regulations tells us more people are going to steal.
More people are going to break rules without regulation and rules and laws.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, B Dirt, man. One more time, let's remind everybody on Sunday on the Know-It-Alls, B Dirt will be along with us.
Sunday between 6:11 and 6:17, somewhere in there, I think is normally when they start, right?
11 and 6:17.
No, it's 6:11 to 6:17 is normally
6:11 to 6:17.
Yeah. I said 6 o'clock, but it ain't gonna happen then.
Let's just say show up at 6:06.
Okay. 6:06 it is.
But
I'll be
yeah,
back there at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to the young man. I think he's got a bright future.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So that's Sunday on the Know-It-Alls. And go ahead and tell them, well, you don't have necessarily.
Oh, Running Through the
Going
Jungle,
into-
awful week. Coming back on Thursday the 10th. Thursday the 10th. Going to take the 3rd off. The only thing that we did have the caveat, if Trey Hendricks signs, we'll jump up and down on camera for a few minutes.
and Pay, man, what's going on? What's going on with you in Frustrated Chicago, man? I see the whole Chicago Bulls C-Red hypeness is back in the building, man.
Woo!
Well, you obviously know how that goes. Draft season comes around, you got new hope being found out. So we're gonna pump out those Bulls episodes for the. We're gonna get that out there as long as it's still draft season and free agency. See where that happens. So all that content and surrounding the NBA will be found right at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Also, it is still baseball season. That's still pumping out. We got content coming around that, and as of right now, we are 70 days until kickoff. No, 72 days until kickoff. So get ready. Training camp isn't too far away.
Get ready. And yes, as far as we go, B Dirt, we just talked about the Know-It-Alls. That Sunday, chime in. We're on a sabbatical from overtime right now, but as the WNBA ramps up and football gets into training camp and stuff, sometime in the next few weeks to a month, we'll get back on our overtime, get back in our overtime bag, and bring more content and talk about more stuff outside of football. That's always fun. And check us out. Pay Monday. Are you Central Division Showdown? I never know.
It is on Chicago's. It's Chicago's turn.
Okay. So yeah, check out the Frustrated Chicago sports fans for the Central Division Showdown, the basketball show. Like to talk about with the draft just happening. Free agency begins Monday at 6:00. It'll be an hour into it once we get started. So that should be a fun show.
As we already talked about, the colluding is already started. The tampering is already started. We will have a lot to talk about because everything will be already set in stone. The ink will be dry by the time we get on.
Yeah, man. So that, and then Wednesday, myself, Shannon, and Big G will be back for Pump Your Brakes, trying to come up with some Steeler news. Thanks, Ronald Blake. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, everybody in the live chat that joined us. Thanks, B Dirt and Pay. Appreciate you guys. A lot of good information about the collusion and the whole, guaranteed money for quarterbacks and stuff. I thought it was a great show, too. Tim Lyons, is Pay going to show up to the showdown? Is the biggest question. Hey, Tim. We don't know until we know. So
I gotta check the schedule. I gotta see if I'm on the schedule for this Monday.
Okay. With that being said, everybody, man, until one of these shows you see us on next, we out until next Friday for the homie. So shout out everybody. Thanks for joining us. And peace.
What's up, homie?